By the Allspark, you guys, things got really real this episode. We are AfterBuzz TV's Transformers Robots in Disguise after show, looking at Season 4, Episode 17, Exiles, and we'll see you after the opening.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Well, this occurred.
I mean, aren't reunions great? It's so great to have the bands back together again, right?
Which band are we talking about?
The Decepticon band, aka the only band that matters.
About a third of them? I have some thoughts on team... Wow, composition. That's the word I'm looking for. It's going to be a fun with words night tonight, you guys.
Yes, it is. Also, we're kind of falling back on this fun and poppy song because, dang, was that an abrupt shift in tone.
Yeah, oh my god.
Oh, that came right out of nowhere.
Well, welcome back to the Transformers Robots in Disguise after show on AfterBuzz TV. We are looking at Season 4, Episode 17, Exiles, and we're still kind of processing things, even though we watched it like 24 hours ago.
Dang, yo.
Takes a long process time. Our wrecker is out tonight. She is trying to rebuild the scrapyard. You can find her at ATORS890. I have with me Megan Megan Salinas.
Hey guys, you can tweet at me at the Menguin. That's TAGMENGUIN.
And I am Katie Prime Cullen. You can follow me all over the social medias at Kiaxet. That is Kiaxet. We have a hashtag ABTVRID. We have the live chat if you're watching live on YouTube. So if you have something to say, if you've got fun photoshops or jokes or whatever, throw them in the hashtag, throw them in the live chat. You may well get a shout out. I absolutely have questions about team composition for our Decepticons here. I mean, I really do.
Yes.
Because on one hand, we have Hungry Like the Wolf, who has returned in all of his infuriated glory. Yes. And I still laugh at the fact that he's mad about Decepticon Island. Like, it sounds like a Bachelor spinoff. And I know it's not, because that's what they were calling it 2 seasons ago. But I'm still
cost me my reality show.
We were going to make bank. We were going to sell it to CBS. But no, we have Thunderhoof back, which is what makes me sad that Alexis isn't here, because Uncle PJ. Underbite's not a surprise.
It's funny.
He named his biceps and I forgot about that until it happened again, and I was like, oh, okay. Did Liam actually kiss his biceps in the booth when he did that line? Like, I need to know.
I've missed this band of idiots. I really have.
The bit that I can't understand is Clampdown and Quillfire, because you have all of these other Decepticons with varying levels of competence. Let's go for that. And you go for the Redditor and the guy who has betrayed you at least twice. Like, why? Were they the only ones who went, yeah, pardon sounds great, let's do this? Or was it just like, eeny, meeny, miny, you, let's go?
I feel like it was more of that second one.
Eeny, meeny, miny, you.
Eeny, meeny, miny, you. That and like... Obviously, Clampdown, he'll definitely run at the first opportunity, but, like, they can also muscle him into doing whatever it is they want him to do.
Until the going gets rough.
Yeah, but, like, for the most part, they can intimidate him into complying. At least, and they also know they can't trust him. You know, you can always trust a dishonest man to be dishonest. It's honestly the honest ones you have to watch out for.
Because you never know when they're going to do something stupid.
Yes, thank you.
Jazz hands at this entire episode.
Thank you for knowing where I was going with that.
Oh, I know exactly where you were going with that. Thank you.
But as far as Quillfire goes, I think he was just excited to be included.
He wants to be where the people are. He needs to catch up on his Reddit boards.
He wanted to make everyone hats, Katie. Hats.
No, he dreamed that they had hats. Like, okay, so we find out that you can dream in stasis, which I guess is kind of terrifying. And also, he dreamed of a parade with everyone wearing hats. I'm pretty sure we're keeping you for the comic relief.
You know.
Like, things really got real this episode in more ways than one, so we're gonna bring Quillfire back out because he can make the kids laugh, even though things are awful
You know
right
what those
now.
hats probably said?
What'd they say?
Make Cybertron great again.
You stop that.
Because the council is corrupt, and we've never had more proof of that than right here and now.
Oh my god, there are no words for the ridiculous amount of screaming I did after our benefactors back on Cybertron. Like, someone has enough power to give you guys a full pardon for all of the stuff that you pulled, and they want you to come and murder everyone?
Now, I have two schools of thought on this. One is that, yes, the council that was reestablished after the war is comprised of the same people who, yeah, they straight up do just want everything to go back to the way it was, and Bumblebee and Optimus and basically all of the Cybertronians who won the war are a threat to that, and whatever new order wanted to be established to maybe, I don't know, prevent another civil war.
We just want the good old days back again. Good lord, make Cybertron great again. You're not wrong.
Yeah.
Oh.
But my other school of thought is that it could be that it's an entirely new council, and that those council members are doing what Shockwave did in Animated and pretending to be Autobots, like it's a long con sort of deal.
Hey.
I hate you. I hate you. I hate you so much.
Do it to yourself.
But yeah, it's a long con. And that this is all, and again, they're just, especially since B is off planet, they can quietly do away with him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, they can
I mean,
do it
Optimus doesn't
discreetly.
stay dead, but he's also off doing God knows what.
Yeah, we don't know where he's at, but again, Optimus is on a secret mission investigating things on Cybertron.
Uncharted
And then
space.
lo and behold, a group of pardoned Decepticons magically reappears on Earth. Basically with the one thing they're tasked to do being to take out Bumblebee and the team.
And I love that Thunderhoof was like, yeah, that's nice and all, but I'm just gonna go back to building my criminal empire here, so bye.
Yeah, which is interesting because full pardons you would think would be enough incentive to get them to do whatever it is they want, but at the same time, that's not necessarily full incentive for everybody. You know, Steeljaw still does have like a stronghold on this little group. So
For how long is my question?
Yeah, that's true. He's definitely, this is the most irrational we've ever seen him because he's just so angry.
Mad. He's tilted.
Yeah, just
He's
a little bit.
absolutely tilted.
Just a little bit. He's probably madder by the end of this episode. Mad and wet, and you know, it's never fun when you're all wet, especially if you're like, some dogs like getting wet. I don't know. Other ones, yeah, it's just kind of sad. But yeah, I really, and I actually didn't think about it until I was driving to the studio today. But it occurred to me, I was like, maybe that's why Jazz hasn't been around for so long. Is not so much that he didn't want to come back, so much as the council prevented him from coming back.
That is entirely possible.
Oh, and that was a thought that made me extremely uncomfortable.
I was also thinking about, because we keep bringing him up, Fracture.
Yeah.
And then I went, well, he's a Decepticon, but he's also a licensed bounty hunter, so it's not like they're going to hold him on anything.
No.
We just boxed him up because it was easy and he was awful.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
He's probably out doing his own thing and not involved with any of this anymore. So I'm like, okay, I logicked this out.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. No, yeah. I feel like if he's free, he's doing his own thing. If not, I feel like he's still in stasis.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I miss him, though. He
I
was
do too.
fun.
I liked him.
He was fun.
I thought he and his mini-cons had a good, interesting team dynamic.
I was just really surprised that of all the cons that you could bring back, you brought Quillfire and Clampdown. Like, you brought the Redditor and Crab people.
Well,
you know, the useful guys.
With Thunderhoof and Steeljaw screaming at each other all day long. You have to have other people there to straight up feel uncomfortable and to try to relieve the tension.
And you'd think with that Steeljaw, were he in charge of choosing the team, would have chosen someone aside from Thunderhoof because they keep having these, let's call them leadership differences.
Differences in opinion for managerial style, shall we say.
Knockdown dragouts.
Yeah. But the thing is that, and this is something that we've talked about ever since, you know, for lack of a better way of putting it, Steeljaw did establish himself as the alpha of the group. And
so to speak.
I guess we're, and especially when they get into a scuffle in this episode, I think we're meant to believe that when push comes to shove, Steeljaw is stronger than Thunderhoof.
Oh, absolutely.
Why?
You always set your big bad up as being higher up in the power structure.
Yeah, which is a funny thing, because I remember the first time they had an argument way back in season 1, they did have this little stare off, and Thunderhoof is a good head taller than Steeljaw, and so he's looking down at him, and yet he's the one that ended up breaking eye contact first. So yeah, Steeljaw is stronger than him for some reason. But I guess the main question is, technically Thunderhoof, even though Steeljaw is stronger than him, could leave whenever he wants. So I'm not entirely sure. I think he plans on sticking around because, much like Steeljaw supplanted the Decepticons in season 2, and kind of, you know, pulled the rug out from under them, I think Thunderhoof is planning on doing the same to Steeljaw. He's just not as smart or cunning.
Could be. I also think that Thunderhoof has already kind of taken the other three as, no, this is my team, these are my boys, etc., to the point where he goes after the Autobots. Nobody does that to my boys, even if they're incompetent.
I did love that line.
Steeljaw wouldn't do that. I think if push comes to shove and there's a coup, those three are going to come down hard on Thunderhoof's side.
That's true.
Because Steeljaw doesn't really seem to care about
No,
them.
Steeljaw...
We've lost this whole brother thing, and now he just wants revenge.
Steeljaw definitely sees every other Decepticon he's ever worked with, either whether they're an underling or whether, you know, he's serving them, quote unquote, as a means to an end.
Oh, absolutely.
For sure. So yeah, again, it was a very interesting line from Thunderhoof to kind of take ownership of his boys like that.
Yeah.
Like that, hey, those are my guys. Nobody knocks around those knuckleheads but me.
He's used to being the head of a criminal empire. You don't get anywhere if you don't have loyal lackeys.
Yeah. Again, so I'm wondering if they're not setting up an eventual, like, not necessarily a face heel turn for Thunderhoof in terms of like,
no,
I'm a good guy now.
coup.
But yeah, definitely leaving Steeljaw out to dry for sure.
Oh, absolutely. I would not be in any capacity surprised. Omega Pulse in the chat says, how did they get Steeljaw out of the floor? That's a really good question.
When the stasis bomb went off, I imagine they just kind of chiseled away at it and maybe just put the entire chunk of his lower half in the stasis pod with him. And then when the council or whoever on Cybertron woke him up, we're like, could someone
get
his
the
legs?
phase disruptor?
Could someone get his legs out of that block of cement or whatever it is?
Someone get the phase disruptor and just get him out of here. I can't even talk to him like this. This is embarrassing. This is just embarrassing.
Yeah.
For everyone.
For realsies. I can't talk to you when you're like this, Steeljaw.
I am happy to have them back, though, and this is the biggest turn that we've had this season.
What a wonderful reintroduction. We mentioned it at the top of the episode.
Murder is a great reintroduction.
Well, we mentioned it at the top of the episode. It was a very abrupt shift in tone in a way that this series hasn't seen, I think, ever. I hesitate to say that this is the best episode of the series, but this episode definitely feels like the stakes are far higher than they've been. And it's really weird if you're watching like episodes back to back to be like, we're going on a mission on the moon and we came together using the power of friendship, to all of a sudden death is raining from above and you don't know why or how.
And I think this is the first time that we have injured any of our human characters in this capacity.
Yeah.
Put them in that much danger, because our cold open ends with Russell getting essentially hit by an explosion
He
and
was
knocked out.
straight up unconscious.
Yeah.
That was a really dark way to set up the episode.
Welcome back. We killed a child.
I will say, I did think at the very beginning of this episode, I did think it was going to be an episode because we've had a few thematic episodes this season. You know, we had the detective episode, we had the superhero, we had the race episode. So I thought for a hot second that this was going to be the found footage episode, where it's just like, oh, it's just a camera POV. It's a camcorder POV episode.
And then it was like, oh God.
Which
I'd love to see happen is when Drift eventually gets back, goes to the scrapyard, finds the camera, and sees that footage.
Oh, gosh. Assuming that there's anything left of the scrapyard.
That's true, but it would still be the first place that he'd go.
Yeah. I will say, though, before the world was shattered.
Abruptly ended.
Before the world was shattered, I did think it was extremely sweet that Russell was helping Grimlock essentially set up a video diary for Drift.
Yeah.
I thought that was extremely sincere and adorable, and then also was really good at lending into that abrupt shift in tone, because you have it not from the perspective of our giant big robots who can defend themselves and hide and fight, but you have it from the tiny person. It was the Cloverfield.
It really
was.
was
the Cloverfield approach to a cold open.
With a lot more gunfire on a lot less giant monster.
I don't know. I mean, there were plenty of tanks in Cloverfield.
That's true, but they weren't aimed at the people.
That's also, well, not usually.
Admittedly, it's been a while since I've seen Cloverfield. That movie was fun.
Again, Cloverfield approach of like, hey, there's a big thing that's happening. Let's put it from the perspective of the tiny people on the ground.
Well, in the stop recording, we need to get to cover. Like, wow. Yep.
And of course, in classic found footage file, the person refuses to stop recording for some reason.
Like, what do you think this is gonna achieve?
I don't know.
A record of our experiences. Although I did love
Someone
Grimlock
has to document this.
Although I did love Grimlock going, well, it seems like right now we're being attacked. Bless you. Bless you.
Oh, boy.
And in the process of this attack, poor Sideswipe.
Oh,
Good Lord.
my goodness. I think I want to say this is the darkest thing. I know we joke about the show resurrecting Satan and everything like that, but
yeah.
I kind of think this is the first, like, this is the darkest thing the show has done, because we know B is an experienced warrior, and we know that Grimlock has seen a lot of stuff, and we know that Strongarm to an extent has prepared for things in terms of her time at the academy. Sideswipe, on the other hand, yeah, he's been in tons of scraps before, and he's been in tons of battles and Fate of the World stuff, etc. This is the first time I think he's ever felt like he's been right smack dab in the middle of a war zone alone.
He came this close to living his own personal nightmare, because they're all gone, they left me here, and now I'm trapped. Like, I have been abandoned, and now I'm going to die. And that bit of just visibly taking out B's comm to kind of remove him from communications there, I love that. This was well planned out, well choreographed, for lack of a better word. I enjoyed this.
Yeah, and
it was awful. I loved it.
Well, I mean, it was. I hate to sound like a sadist or whatever, but it was beautifully done.
Oh my God!
The animation as this, gunfire is hailing all around Sideswipe. It was beautiful, and I feel terrible for putting it that way.
The expressions were great. The acting was phenomenal.
Yes.
I don't think we've ever heard him quite like that.
Oh, no. And
well done, Darren Criss. Well done.
Again, and the framing was really great. All of the shot compositions were great, and Bumblebee getting knocked out of frame so that you don't know whether or not he fell through the ground bridge right before it exploded. Yeah, so all of that was really good setup. And up until this point, I really just thought that they were hammering in Sideswipe's sense of insecurity and his desire to like really be a part of the team and not feel abandoned. I just kind of thought they were setting that up to give him a little bit of depth. I had no idea that it was going to be such a relevant plot point.
Well, I didn't think they'd turn around and take a hammer to it.
No. So this was surprising, but very much welcome given all of the setup that we've had for this season. And it makes episodes like again, the one we had with Drift and that we had a lot to complain about in terms of the focus being on Sideswipe instead of Drift in that regard, but it makes a lot of sense given what we were having later on down the line, which is this episode.
Yeah, knowing that he has abandonment issues, essentially, you can kind of look back over the course of the entire series and go, okay, yep, this makes sense. This makes so much more sense now.
So, question, and maybe this is better saved for predictions, but I can't believe I've never asked this of myself before, but who hurt you, Sideswipe? Who hurt you?
Well, I sincerely doubt that every bot on Bee's team came about after the war. I think they're all a little too old for that. So the question is, what happened to him during the war? Did he get abandoned? Did he lose everyone? Was he trying to find a place to live when Cybertron was out of commission? Like,
yeah.
Because we also have that line about, it's just a place, you know, I've moved a lot, and after a while they just kind of become places. I'm like, yeah, I've moved about a dozen times in my life. None of those have been just places. So that's a transient mentality, I want to say.
And
that's when you know that no place is permanent, so why bother putting down roots?
And I have another thought on that too. I initially interpreted the moment where he feels like he's abandoned in the middle of this firefight. I initially kind of interpreted that as, this is my worst fear because I've been abandoned and, like, you know, the world is coming to an end. But it's also possible that this experience was also triggering a memory of like PTSD.
Probably, yeah.
It could be that he has this deep-seated insecure fear of being left behind because he was left behind in a very violent situation before, and either everyone who was with him at the time didn't make it, or straight up left, like just straight up abandoned him, or both, or abandoned him and then got killed. Who knows?
Yeah,
but
just
whatever it was traumatic for him.
Well, it made it sound like he moved around a lot, and that war went on for literal millennia.
Yeah.
So a lot could have happened in that time, and we don't know how old any of them are.
Yeah, and like, yeah, let's keep that in mind, is that Cybertron was not habitable for a long time. The bots who ended up on Earth were the lucky ones. Yeah, they were on the forefront of like the fight or whatever against the main Decepticon force. But like, let's be real, they were the lucky ones because they had friends and they had each other and a place to call home.
Hell Planet was the good place to be. The planet with literal Satan in its middle was a better place to be than many other places.
You really need to make the distinction between Megatronus and Unicron.
You
call them both Robot Satan, and it's starting to annoy me.
They both kind of are.
They're not interchangeable, Katie. One's a planet.
No, one became a planet.
One is currently a planet, and the other one is more akin to the robot devil. So Megatronus is the devil, Unicron is a corpse planet. You okay there?
Yeah, okay.
Sorry, I didn't mean to call you out. It's just very confusing to me.
What's your forwarding address? Well, right now I'm living on the robot corpse planet, so...
That's what it is! That is canonically what Earth is.
I know! Terminology. It's great. It's great.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, Sideswipe kind of messing up the world for things when messing up missions, because now he's freaked out.
Yeah.
Can't really blame him, but he really doesn't want to deal with it either.
I had some mixed feelings on, like, kind of people getting on his case because they're like, Sideswipe, we need you to do this, because I know they trust him to get the job done, but at the same time, it's like he's too proud to be able to talk about his feelings in this capacity, and I kind of feel like the rest of his team should recognize that at this point. So I wasn't quite sure how I felt about, like, strong arm, like, snipping at him, like, ugh, quit using the comms, like, you're basically screwing up.
I mean, they should know, but they're also in crisis mode.
Yeah, that's
badly,
also true.
because the place where they've been living for an unspecified amount of time that amounts to about 3.5 seasons at this point has essentially been razed to the ground. They're dealing with a bunch of old, very heavily armed foes. Like, they need to be working together, and if Sideswipe is refusing to address this and kind of trying to hide it from them, then there's not a lot that they can do about that.
You know what it kind of reminds me of, and I never thought I would make the comparison between these two shows. It reminds me of Caleb's story arc a little bit in this past season of Turn, where it's like a very traumatic thing happened, and nobody knows how to talk about it because the word PTSD did not exist back then. And then when it comes out to the forefront, the leader doesn't have time to deal with it. So it's, in a roundabout way, the two shows that have nothing to do with one another have very similar story character beats.
But this is also like, I know that you have this problem. I know that you have this issue, but Sideswipe going, yeah, no, it's fine. Everything's fine. You kind of have to take him at his word at that point.
And to B's credit, I will definitely give B credit that towards the end of the episode, that's where the reassuring came in. We're not, and to be fair, B was very reassuring throughout the majority of the episode. It was just kind of one or two moments here or there where they were like, get it together, Sideswipe. Like, B was the one saying, of course I wouldn't leave you, like, we're coming back for you, like, I promise, we're not abandoning you. And he said that more than once, I want to say during each act of the episode, like, once in Act 1 when he came back after the ground bridge explosion, once in Act 2 when they're all in the cave, and then once in Act 3 when he goes back inside to finish the fight and asks Sideswipe to take care of the dam. Yeah. Really good storytelling this episode, guys.
It's like he's doing his job. It's working.
Story structure.
This was just such a great episode. My God.
It was. And not to mention, like, how it's... Again, that's I think probably the most not uncomfortable. I'm trying to figure out the right word, but like the moment my jaw hit the floor was seeing Steeljaw, like, clamped onto the concrete wall, having just heard what Sideswipe's worst insecurity is. And I'm like, no! Steeljaw's a master manipulator! He knows just how to twist that knife!
And then using it poorly on the bridge, like, oh, they left you behind. Yo, he literally just told me that they didn't.
Well, it's funny, because he could have used it better to his advantage, but he said, like, the one thing that would probably motivate Sideswipe to kick him over the side, which was, I'm going to make sure that all of your friends die slow and painful deaths.
It's like, yeah, no, you're not.
Yeah, they left you all alone. And BT Dubs, they do need you, and I'm really emphasizing that right now.
Steeljaw is our master manipulator, but I really do think that he's kind of gone off the reservation at this point because he is so determined to get revenge.
He is blinded by rage. It is so evident, because I feel like had he been more composed, he would have used that information to his advantage.
Like a scalpel.
Yeah. He would have gotten right to the heart of it and would have been able to drop Sideswipe off that dam.
Yeah. But instead, Sideswipe uses the dam to repair the dam, because I guess that's how it works.
That was the one bit of this episode I didn't understand. I was sitting here going, wouldn't you at least need some adhesive to keep the rubble there? All right, whatever. I'm I'm not an engineer, so who am I to argue?
Like, sure, this is absolutely how it does the thing.
Welcome to the Transformers after show, where Megan lists off the list of professions that she is not. I am not a space scientist.
A beekeeper.
I am not an engineer and not a beekeeper.
But and everything at the dam, the fight, the manipulating Steeljaw. You're such a great speaker. None of you questioned why I seem to be here alone. Like, God bless you, you're idiots. And I've missed having this particular group of nut jobs back. I really have. They have been great. There's a reason we kept Steeljaw in the opening, I guess.
I have missed them as well. I always thought they were very charming, and
they're fun. They're a lot of fun.
I will say that it was great having different villains to sort of step in. Like, I liked having Glowstrike and Scorponok and all those other guys for the Decepticon Island bit.
And Starscream back.
Starscream back was great. And I will say, as dumb as they were, Motormaster and his crew were also a lot of fun. As dumb as they all were. But yeah, I feel like enough time has passed that, like, this was a really good point to reintroduce this crew, especially because they have history with the B team.
And these are characters that we've spent a lot of time building up, and we know a lot about them.
Yeah, we spent 2 entire seasons with them.
So I feel like we had a lot of really good time with them, and we had a lot of really good time with the Stunticons, and that season 3 is kind of where we fell short on our Decepticon villains, because we all knew Starscream. Starscream was fantastic. Starscream was there for 2 episodes out of 6. We didn't have enough time to develop this other group of cons that we ran into. I feel like if last season had been a full season, we would have fallen in love with all of them, too.
Real quick question, though, and again, maybe this is better for theories, but if there are members of the Cybertronian Council that can give the ability to pardon to these various Decepticons, and maybe it's not the Council, maybe it's somebody in the Cybertronian Justice Department, I don't know.
I'm going to put this here now. Nobody's dumb enough to pardon Starscream. I don't know if that's what you were asking, but I'm laying that out now. Nobody's dumb enough to do that.
I wasn't asking about Starscream.
Oh, okay.
I could definitely see them, like, letting him out and being like, okay, you're going to do community service, specifically in service to me.
He's known for betraying people. Like, that is his thing, and there's no way that they wouldn't know
Megatron
that.
really only let him have his position of power because he thought it was a hoot.
Pretty much. I feel, and he's also Megatron's second in command, and I think
because
the only
Megatron thought it was hilarious.
And with the new exception of Soundwave, the only second in command out of the half dozen that Megatron had to survive the war. Mm-hmm. No one is dumb enough to pardon Starscream.
I will say, though,
and he shows up in 2 episodes. I have a full pardon.
What I do think, and again, maybe I'm jumping the gun a little bit, but that literally every Decepticon we've sent back to Cybertron could very well be pardoned and sent back. So we could have several factions.
It's a revolving door prison system.
Yeah, we could have several factions of Decepticons all sent back to Earth for the express purpose of destroying Bee's team and conquering the planet for the new
greater
Cybertronian
good.
Council. I don't know.
For the greater good.
The greater good. I'm just spitballing, but yeah.
I feel like these are the 5 that we're going to be dealing with for a while, because throwing everyone back in the mix would be too much.
I'm
and
talking
even
about,
when
like,
we had a whole bunch of characters all at once, we kind of dealt with a smaller core team instead of bringing back everyone.
I feel like keeping it to this core group is good for right now. I'm thinking, like, way down the line, like, in terms of endgame stuff, because I don't think we're gonna get any more about the Cybertronian. We've been asking about the Cybertronian Council for 4 seasons. I don't think we're gonna get any answers until, like, the series is wrapping up.
Better. That's been on my wish list from day 1. You get everything you ask for.
Don't you put this on me. I do not want your monkey's paw scenario to get turned on. No, stop that, Katie.
I would love to see the rescue bots come in.
Yeah, That would be
not even gonna
that
lie.
would be lovely.
That would
That's
be
our
amazing.
big team up. We get two, like maybe they send the Stunticons back, and we get Steeljaw's team and the Stunticons team being forced to team up, and then and then we need to team up with the Rescue Bots to save the day. Although we've already established with Blur that it's like, hey guys, maybe not send the children into the war zone.
Into combat.
Into the war
yeah,
zone.
they don't handle it well.
Blur did
Heatwave
just
sure spent all his time raring to go, though.
Blur did just fine because he's very fast. But everyone else, you just keep them in Griffin Rock. You just keep them there. It'd be great. As much as I would love to see them, I also do not want them anywhere near the firefight. If that
Yeah.
it would be great to see them
Yeah.
though, or at least get one or two cameos. Like I said, Jazz, he's been away for a long time. And again, really just anybody who would be helpful in this scenario.
RC, Bulkhead, Smokescreen.
Ratchet. Especially because they made it very clear when they introduced Ratchet that like the Cybertronian Council were trying to get rid of him.
They were trying to kill him.
Let's send the medic out on a bounty hunting mission for some reason.
I mean, we gave him a mini-con.
Because
so
we're
fine.
monsters. Because we're monsters.
I really want to know what's going on Cybertron.
Yeah.
And now that we have this, our Cybertronian benefactors who gave us full pardons, tell me things.
I
me
do want
things.
to give a couple shout outs on the Twitter sphere. We have Lasergon on Twitter who sent us in the hashtag this hilarious Photoshop screenshot of Bumblebee and Prime seeing his base blown up, going, "Oh no, not again," and then getting blown up again, "Not again," and then in Robots in Disguise seeing the base blown up again. Seriously? Oh my scrapping Primus.
Like, we just can't win. We just can't win.
And we also had this great one from Raymond T, who did a little Superman bit of Sideswipe jumping over the train. And they took screenshots from, I want to say, the Superman one of the Superman movies.
One of the Superman movies. That's what it looks like.
It's delightful. Be sure to check out the hashtag because it's great.
Speaking of the humans, we really need to talk about Denny and Russell.
We do. I just want to give a real quick shout out to Romantic Caveman because they've been getting caught up, and yeah, you're great.
They
we
were
like
in
you.
the chat earlier, but they had to leave. Time zone differences.
Bummer.
Bummer.
Don't worry, you'll get caught up. But yeah, let's talk about Denny and Russell for a hot second because
Feels so bad
my
for
gosh.
Denny.
His
home got destroyed.
They lost their home. They lost their business. They lost literally. I hope Denny diversified his portfolio because otherwise, pretty much all of their physical assets are gone. And I don't know if their insurance. They live in Crown City, so maybe. I don't know if their insurance covers giant robot attack.
I feel like that's a Lloyd's of London sort of insurance question,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, or straight up Crown City. Again, we joke about the fan club and about weird things going on in Crown City and just them just sort of accepting it. I feel like Crown City is such a weird place that they probably have insurance for all sorts of things. And
probably.
having met giant robots, Denny would actually go out and be like, can I get that giant robot insurance? I mean, it's never going to happen, but you never know.
It's not going to happen, but... And then it's like, well, do you have proof of the... Pulls out that camera footage. Those are actual giant robots. Yeah, they all went back to their home planet, but
Insurance money, please.
I really need to file this claim.
So, and they're like, oh man, that's the biggest payout we've ever had. But yeah,
But they're living in a cave now.
if
This is
insurance
like-
doesn't cover it, then yes, I really hope Denny diversified his portfolio so he can liquidate some of his assets, and so they have money to live. Because as you said, they're living in a cave with a box of scraps.
Don't talk about Fix It that way.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry,
joking.
Fix It.
I know
but
it was
yeah,
a reference.
They have no food. I hope Denny had his wallet on at the very least. And yeah, they don't have mattresses or for beds.
I feel
How are
like
they gonna
mom's
live
gonna
out of
be.
the cave?
I feel like mom's gonna be real mad when she comes back from Copenhagen.
Oh, she's gonna be furious. I leave you with him for one summer?
I think it's been a summer.
I don't know. It's hard to say.
What is time? We've kind of hit the Phineas and Ferb definition of summer.
I don't know. I mean, it's entirely possible her business trip went longer and we've just sort of ignored the fact that Russell has gone back to school. It would explain why he hasn't been around as much.
I don't know. I think we're kind of in timey-wimey territory.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm not
I'm not worried
gonna
about
look to
that.
explain it. What I am worried about is them having a place to sleep. And it's really sad because, like, yeah, Denny's sitting here like counting off the different things that he's lost and
a
expecting.
shipment of vintage pressed coins.
Oh.
It's like, oh.
You know that Denny has like a good chunk of his inventory memorized.
Oh, I'm sure he has all of it memorized.
Oh, man.
I mean, that was his home, his business, and his passion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not like
Time to start the giant pretzel business.
I would hope so. Because it's not like with other humans who have helped the Transformers out in the past where you could assume that they're given some sort of like government training or government stipend or compensation of some sort. These are just the robots' friends who are letting them crash on their couch.
I feel like there's no way some of this at least hasn't gotten back to the government in some capacity because we don't have anyone scouring the internet and removing incriminating photos.
Yeah, no, for
and
sure.
this is the world of Instagram. I mean, there's probably just like a Just Crown City things hashtag that has all sorts of explosions and runaway robots and all sorts of
We've
stuff.
also established that Crown City aren't the brightest bunches. So
There has to be, seriously, hashtag Just Crown City things.
just Crown City things.
Just Crown City things.
I will say though,
My morning commute was blocked by a giant robot. Just Crown City things.
two bits of character, just tiny character bits that I really liked in this episode. I did like the side swipe bit with like the jumping over the train. He broke his disguise because he was that afraid of being left behind. But I also really loved this moment in the cave where everybody's arguing and Fix-It just kind of grabs
it and leaves. I'll just take care of it myself. Gosh.
And then at the very end there, and they have a projected shot of the scrapyard. And it's
That's
like
really sad.
home home is where the heart is, sort of wrap up metaphor message. And it might be cliche of home is where the heart is, but you know what? It's cliche because it's true.
Yeah. And I say that as someone who's moved 12 times in her life.
And I am a firm believer of home is where the heart is, for sure.
Yeah. This episode, though, you guys, talk about just table flipping the status quo. Good Lord.
For sure. And again, a wonderful way to shake up the status quo is blowing up their base.
So,
shoot, and the ground bridge is gone too. I know we talked about it, but yeah, that's bad. We needed that. Oh no.
We got all of Windblade's caches, and then we blew up the base.
Oh, shoot.
Well, crap.
Shoot, that's bad.
And that also means that they can't go find one and arm themselves.
No, it would take a long... They have to go, everywhere by foot now. That's unfortunate.
Well, we had to do that in season 1 as well.
Yeah, when they were still working on getting a ground bridge together. Ooh, and kind of interesting too, because we know that Soundwave is still out there too, and I'm wondering if maybe taking out their ground bridge wasn't kind of part of some sort of Machiavellian scheme. Because
actually, I feel like it might be a setback for Soundwave, which to me would be hilarious. He's like, all right, I got all these pieces in place, and all I need to do is, who are these people?
And then there's this guy.
I'm sorry, I thought we took care of you. I'd removed your piece from the board, and now you're back.
What are you doing? Thwarting my plans? Yes.
We're going to talk about this.
But it could also be that, like, that was part of the grand design because now they're lacking a ground bridge and maybe the next one they come across is an unreliable piece of technology or or
Okay.
a piece of technology that's been purposely tampered with.
Could be anything.
Yeah. I don't know. Anything is possible.
Anything is possible now.
That's what happens when you flip the table. Anyway.
Quotes I'm not allowed to say on the show. Do you have any final thoughts on this episode?
Just that it was a pleasant surprise. We always joke about it. I'm the one to make it dark. A pleasant surprise with how dark this episode got, but it also wasn't devoid of humor or heart. So well done, show, for being able to strike that balance of high stakes drama and heart, and some funny bits thrown in there too.
Yeah.
Well balanced episode.
This was a great episode.
I think this
Heck
is
of a turning point.
This has definitely been, in my opinion, the best so far this season, if not the series.
Yes. Yeah, definitely for this season. For the series, I'd have to go back and kind of look at everything.
I mean, there are episodes that I very much enjoy, like the detective episode, but it's hard to argue with how good this one was.
Yeah. Well, we should probably swing into real quick predictions.
Your AfterBuzz TV
I
predictions.
feel like we've been doing that the whole time. Yeah, straight up, evil council, Decepticons, or corrupt Autobots, and they're plotting to bring Soundwave back. That's what I thought.
I'm guessing we're either going to get Soundwave versus Steeljaw, or we're going to get they're going to try to manipulate each other, which I would love.
I'm gonna go off on a limb and assume Soundwave's gonna win that little spat.
Yeah.
I love you, Steeljaw. I love you, Hungry Like the Wolf, but I'm sorry. You're just outclassed.
Steeljaw's great, but Soundwave though.
But Soundwave though.
But Soundwave though is just kind of the best summary we have for Soundwave.
Yep.
Anyway, I think that about does it for us. Thank you guys for joining us this week. Megan, where can the people find you?
Hey, you guys can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at TheMenguin. That's TheMenguin. I am also on a bunch of shows here at AfterBuzz. I write articles for the movie Chick That's Chick with 2 Ks. Be sure to check those out. Be sure to check out also the latest episode of the Shadow Radio Recreation, where I do the voice of Margot Lane.
You can follow Alexis at atorres890, and I'm Katie Cullen. You can follow me all over the social medias at Kiaxet, that is Kiaxet. The YouTube and the Twitch also go by that same name. We have some shows that are coming down the line. I'm probably going to start up again soon, so keep an eye out for Z Nation, keep an eye out for Arrow, and then in about a month or so, keep an eye out for Voltron. Those are coming back.
Woot, woot.
I am also on Geek and Sundry's Gather Your Party on Friday nights. That's twitch.tv/Geek and Sundry, Friday at 9:30 Pacific. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.